जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Thank you for joining. Today we are discussing verse number 54 of chapter number 2 from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And in the previous verse, verse number 53, Krishna tells Arjuna that when your mind is no longer distributed or attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it is remaining fixed in self, in the trance of self-realization, then Krishna says that at that time you understand that you have attained yoga or you have attained divine consciousness. Krishna uses the Sanskrit line as Tada Yogam Avapsyasi. This is the last line of the previous verse. So verse number 53, with verse number 53, the previous section, which is section number D, has completed. So far we have seen 4 sections in chapter 2. With the section A is verse 1 to 10, where Arjuna gives further arguments. So he gives some arguments in chapter number 1. So there are 4 different reasons he gives why he doesn't want to fight. One is compassion, then is enjoyment, third is destruction of the family, and the fourth is saintliness and fear of sinful reactions. And then in chapter 2, verse number 6, he is unable to decide whether he should fight or not. Therefore he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna. And then Krishna starts speaking the transcendental knowledge, which is section B, that is 11 to 30. So in section B, Krishna systematically answers various questions that Arjuna has raised. And in 11 to 30, Krishna gives the Atma Gyan, or the knowledge of soul, that the soul is eternal and indestructible, and therefore Arjuna should fight, engage in performing his duty. So this counters Arjuna's argument of compassion. And then the section C, which is 31 to 38. So that is the first application of the knowledge of soul, because Krishna has given knowledge of soul in verse 11 to 30. So once you understand that you are not the body, you are soul, then how to act on the platform of soul, that is the knowledge of acting on the knowledge of soul. And that section is basically called as Karma Kanda. So over there in that section 31 to 38, Krishna is telling Arjuna how you should fight, because by fighting you will attain heavenly planets if you lose or if you die, and you will gain earthly kingdom. So either way you will be enjoying. So this counters Arjuna's argument that I will not be able to enjoy. So that is section C. And then in last few weeks, we have been discussing about section D, which is verse number 39 to 53. So the Krishna takes the discussion from Karma Kanda to one step further, that is Karma Yoga. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that seek for liberation. Padam gachanti anamayan. So this is verse number 51. Krishna says that look for or go for liberation. Not go for the heavenly planet or enjoyment in the heavenly planet. So perform Nishkama Karma Yoga, because there are many benefits to it. And we have seen all those benefits. We have been studying those benefits of Karma Yoga or Nishkama Karma Yoga. So this counters Arjuna's argument of fear of sinful reactions. Krishna says that if you perform the actions without being attached to the fruits of the actions in the consciousness of yoga, then what will happen is you will not get any sinful reaction. So now after hearing all this in section A, B, C and D, then Arjuna has set of questions. and he is thinking in his mind that how this person who is a karma yogi or nishkarma karma yogi or one who is situated in buddhi yoga, how will that person act? So in the last section, Arjuna is asking that question, and then he is asking about the characteristics of such a person, and Krishna is systematically answered this questions which has been asked by Arjuna in this verse number 54, which we are going to read today. So let's read the verse number 54. So this is Arjuna's question 54, and then Krishna is starting to answer 55th, next verse onwards till the end of this chapter. Krishna is going to answer what Arjuna has asked over here in verse number 54. So let's go to verse number 54. Chapter 2, verse 54. Arjuna vacha stita pragyascha ka bhasha samadhis stasya keshava sitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vajeta kim. Arjuna said, "O Krishna," so he is calling Krishna as Keshava over here. One name of Krishna is Keshava. So, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So let's go into the Sanskrit terms, what has been spoken here by by Arjuna. So Arjuna Vacha means Arjuna is speaking. The first line is Sthita Pragyasya Ka Bhasha. So Sthita Pragyasya Ka Bhasha means what is the Bhasha of Sthita Pragya. So Arjuna's question is based on his own level of thinking. Originally we know that, and we have discussed this many times, that Arjuna is a pure devotee. But currently he is covered by Yoga Maya potency of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he is acting like a normal person, or he is acting like a conditioned soul who is caught up in bodily misidentification. So at this level he is primarily thinking, should I be fighting or should I not fight? Should I engage in this war or should I not engage in this war? So Krishna has described the characteristics of a person in last few verses about a person who is in Buddhi Yoga, so or Nishkama Karma Yoga, and Prabhupada actually translates that as person in Krishna consciousness. So the fundamental question that Arjuna has is, will such person who has been described by Krishna, is he going to fight or not? See, because you have to remember that this discussion is going on in the middle of the battlefield. And just before this, what Krishna spoke, Arjuna had that doubt, and he continues to have that doubt. So, whatever Arjuna is going to ask or talk or question, is based on this fundamental doubt he has, whether this person, or should I fight or not? Or the person what you are describing, is he going to fight in this situation or not? And then we see that last time Krishna instructed Arjuna to fight was in verse number 37 and 38, which is in the Karma Kanda section. That if you fight and you win the earthly kingdom, but if you lose and if you die, you go to the heavenly planet. So fight. So that's where Krishna last talked about or instructed Arjuna to fight. But after that, 39 to 53, verse number 53, Krishna has not asked Arjuna to fight, but mostly Krishna has talked about the person in who is Nishkama Karma Yogi, or a person who is in transcendence. So this is the discussion what is going on. So Krishna is not explicitly telling Arjuna to fight in those verses 39 to 53. And on top of that, in verse number 49, Krishna says that Dure nahi avaram karma. So keep at far distance avaram karma, abominable work. And when Krishna says avaram karma, he refers to karma kanda. But it does not lead to mukti. Karma karma doesn't lead to mukti. That's why it is considered as avaram karma. But from Arjuna's point of view, killing his relatives and his friends, that he considers as avaram karma. So you have to understand that there are two different points of view. One is Arjuna's point of view, other is Krishna's point of view. So Krishna is speaking something, and Arjuna may be understanding it a little differently. In fact, he misunderstands it. That's why in the third chapter, in the beginning, he is asking the same question, that should I fight or not? You tell me definitely. And in fact, after that, in the fifth chapter also, he is asking the same question. So even though Krishna is going into all these details, from Arjuna is still not understanding the things very clearly. So therefore, in this verse, he is going to ask all these questions, whatever he is asking, in order to figure out whether the person who is Sthita Pragya or fixed consciousness, is he going to fight or not? So in the last 15 verses, Krishna has not talked about fighting and discussed about Karma Yoga. Hence, Arjuna is now asking to Krishna that what are the characteristics of such a Karma Yogi. So these questions are very interesting because he's saying Sthita Pragyascha ka bhasa. So what is the language of such person, or bhasa of such person? Which person? That is line B. Samadhi stasya keshavaha. Such a person who is situated in samadhi. And then he's saying Stitadhi kim prabhasheta. So how does such person speak? Right? So how does such person speak? And then fourth line is saying kim aseta vrajeta kim. How does such person sit? And how does such person walk? So this is how does such person walk? Vrajeta kim. Kim aseta means how does such person sit? And kim prabhaseta is how does such person speak? Right? So, and ka bhasha means what is the language of such person, or what is the characteristics of such a person who is a karma yogi or nishkama karma yogi. So looking at these questions from an external perspective, when we take a look, then it appears that these questions are asked to some Mr. Universe or Miss Universe, or in some sports context, how is this person walking, how is this person sitting, and all these kind of things. But Arjuna is certainly not interested in this kind of things. So this is a very serious philosophical question, or these are very serious philosophical questions. So these words, how does a person sit, or what is his language, and all these things, they are indicative of something deeper. And we should not take this or understand these things literally. So ka bhasha means what is the language, right? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as well as Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, they say that bhasa refers to bhashyate iti bhasha. So generally bhasha is referred to as a language. So bhashya means commentary, and tika is the commentary on the commentary. So bhasa also means that one which describes. So how do we describe a thing? We describe a thing with its characteristics. So ka bhasha means what are the characteristics of such a person. So that is the first point. That is, what are the characteristics or symptoms of that person, and how that person reveals his position. So I have put pictures of Srila Prabhupada over here, that Prabhupada is a perfect fit for all the characteristics which is defined later. So that's why I have put it over here. From his life of Srila Prabhupada, we can understand that, studying his life, that he was a Sthitapagya. He was a man in action and he was fixed in consciousness. So, what are the symptoms of such a person? That is answered by Krishna in verse number 55. How does he reveal his position? So, the next one is, after this Ka Bhasha, is Kim Prabhasheta. So, what is the manner of speech of that person? Or how does he speak? What is his language? So, that means how does he react to the action of others? That is a deeper meaning of Kim Prabhasheta. Because our speech is sometimes, and most of the times, it's controlled by the actions of others. So we react to that. So how does this person react to the actions of others? So that is speak or language, or speech or language. And this is answered by Krishna in verse number 56 and 57. The next is how does that person sit? So that is Kim Ashita. So how does that person regulate the senses and keep them under control? Or we can also understand the mentality when senses are withdrawn from sense object. How is that person situated at that time? So that is answered from verse 58 to 63. And the last one is Vrajeta Kim. How does that person walk? So walking means how does the person move around in this world, or how does he engage his senses? Because this world is filled with temptation. So how does the person engages his senses in this in the material world? And that is answered from 64 to 71. So then there are many examples from Parampara who have lived their life in such a way as a Sthitapagya. So that's why I put the pictures of the previous acharyas who were all Sthitapagya. So now let's see what Srila Prabhupada has to say in the purport, or discuss in the purport. So first Prabhupada discusses the importance of word symptom. And Prabhupada says, as there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly one who is in Krishna consciousness has a particular nature, like talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. So these symptoms are the way external manifestation of the internal nature of that person. So similarly, a person in Krishna consciousness, he externally does things and expresses himself, but in a certain way, and that way indicates the nature of that person, he is in Krishna consciousness or not. So Krishna has given all the, in Bhagavad Gita, later on he will reveal how a person in Krishna consciousness should be, what should be, how do we identify that person, what are the symptoms of that person. So various kinds of symptoms. As a rich man has his symptom by which he is known as a rich man, because they have a lot of money. So that is a indicative of a person is rich. As a diseased man has a symptom by which he is known as diseased, or a learned man has his symptoms. So a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. So the way they deal with others, that reveals the consciousness of the person. The same situation can happen and different people deal with that same situation in different ways based on the consciousness of the person. So similarly, a person in transcendence or person having transcendental consciousness will behave in a certain way depending on different situation. One can know his specific symptom from Bhagavad Gita. As I told earlier, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has revealed what kind of symptom the person should have. Then Prabhupada says, what is the most important symptom? So most important is how a man in Krishna consciousness speaks. because speaks means when you are somebody speaking, they reveal their internal heart. For speech is the most important quality of a man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. So someone does not speak, particularly a fool. As soon as the person will start speaking, then we'll know this guy is intelligent or this person is a fool. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. So nice example given by Prabhupada, that a foolish, though he may wear a nice clothes, but as soon as he opens his mouth, then we'll know this person is fool or he is intelligent. So similarly, with the symptoms we can know that the person is Krishna conscious or he is not Krishna conscious, or person is situated in yoga or person is not situated in yoga. They will behave or act differently based on the situations that they face. Immediate symptom of Krishna conscious person. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and matter relating to him. So they don't waste their time in speaking about mundane subject matters, because their consciousness is fixed in Krishna. So in their heart they have Krishna. So they are just talking from their heart. Then Krishna is coming out from their speech because he is in the heart. But if some all junk is sitting in our heart, then that things are going to come out when we are going to speak. Other symptoms then automatically follows. So the main or the central theme is when Krishna is within our heart, our heart is saturated with Krishna consciousness, then in our speech will reveal that. And the other symptoms will automatically follow, because the Krishna is sitting in the heart and the consciousness is saturated with Krishna. So naturally all the other symptoms, good symptoms, it is said that a person who is in Krishna consciousness, he doesn't have to work to build all these good characteristics. It automatically happens. So just by becoming Krishna consciousness, one becomes a very nice person, or a person of a topmost characteristics. So this is what is discussed in this purport and has been put into this presentation format for you to study. And then we'll continue with the first symptom, or answering of the first question, which Krishna is answering in verse number 55. So we'll begin with seeing how Krishna is talking about the symptom or characteristics of the person who is Sthitapagya, or who has fixed intelligence. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande Haribol.